What's up, YouTube? Welcome to ExceedTheHype.com. It's your boy Lucrecio coming back at you with another video, alright? Man, crazy day in basketball, in the basketball world. Kyrie Irving, right off the back, traded to the Celtics for Isaiah Thomas, Jay Crowder, the young rookie from the Celtics, and probably the most important, or one of the most important pieces to this trade, which is Brooklyn's 2018 first round pick, which is going to be the first pick, more than likely. If not the first pick, probably in the top 3, but it's probably going to be the first pick because they're going to have the worst record in the NBA. Probably going to be the first pick. Probably going to be like Michael Porter if he has a good college season. So, to me, the juice that the Celtics had has been transferred to the Cavaliers. The Cavaliers now have it, and they have basically Isaiah Thomas. They have Isaiah Thomas, who is basically Kyrie Irving, who's another version of Kyrie Irving, who is a player who can create out of isolation, who can still get to the basket and is crafty enough to finish in traffic over bigger defenders, who can still shoot from outside. Isaiah Thomas averaged like 28 points per game last year, better than Kyrie Irving. The assist, I believe IT had a slight advantage on Kyrie Irving. Man, I just feel like the Celtics got fleeced in this trade. I feel like the Cavaliers completely took advantage of the Celtics in this trade, and they got their pick. Like, obviously Kyrie Irving has a higher profile than IT, even though IT had a better season last year, but Kyrie Irving has a better profile. So you can't say you can trade those guys straight up. Most people would feel like that would be a bad trade. When you add Jay Crowder to it, people forget Jay Crowder is a really good two-way player. Even if you want to say, okay, offensively he's not great, defensively he is really good defensively, and he's very versatile. He can guard you in the post because he's about 6'8" and he's a big guy. He can guard you outside because he's quick laterally, and he has good defensive principles. That's a good trade. Having somebody like that next to LeBron is outstanding. They got the young rook, Ante or whatever. We'll see what he can become. He might be pretty good as well. We'll just see. And then you have the Brooklyn pick. I can't get over that pick. Like, I just feel like, to me, this is not a Danny Ainge trade. It cannot be a Danny Ainge trade. Danny Ainge does not do trades like this. They basically gave away way too much for Kyrie Irving. I believe this is ownership driven. I believe the owner pushed this because of what Kyrie did to them in the playoffs in that one game. I mean, he had a good playoffs against them, but that one game when he had that spectacular run, when he scored all those points in the third quarter or whatever, it's just insane. All right, so let's get into the video. That's the trade, the big news of the day, the breaking news. That's the trade. Basically, the Cavs traded Kyrie Irving for a slightly shorter version of Kyrie Irving, a two-way player, and a center that can possibly stretch the floor a little bit, and the #1 pick in the draft. That's what this trade is going to look like when it's all said and done. That's the haul for Kyrie Irving. Bravo, Cavaliers. To me, that's a very good trade. They fleeced the Celtics, in my opinion. So let's talk about the rest of the team. Another thing to add in. It has been in the news the last couple of days that this offseason for Dwayne Wade being a Chicago Bull is merely, is not going to last, right? He is going to be a buyout candidate probably sooner than later. So it's possible they may buy him out before the season even starts. They may say, hey, we don't want you to come to camp. We got young players. We respect you enough to pay you whatever, $18 million or whatever he'll accept or whatever up front for you to go play with LeBron in Cleveland. So Dwayne Wade, people, is coming to Cleveland as well. So you signed Derrick Rose, who, tune in tomorrow because I'm gonna explain to you guys why Derrick Rose is not washed up, not nearly as washed up as you people think. So tune in tomorrow. So you sign him, okay? You trade Kyrie Irving to the Boston Celtics, who in my opinion will become a little bit weaker because of the trade. And then you are going to also sign Dwayne Wade to this team. What does this sound like to you people? This sounds to me like they're really throwing caution to the wind. Another thing is why this is a good trade for Cleveland. Isaiah Thomas, people, is somebody who wants his money. Basically, he wants to be extended. He wants a new contract or whatever. He wants like a max or whatever. So what better of a player could you get to go to Cleveland or whatever, who would be willing to re-sign in Cleveland in case LeBron was to leave, which especially after this, I doubt he'll leave, especially after Dwayne Wade comes aboard. I doubt he'll leave. But if he did, you just traded for a player who has a high likelihood to re-sign with you, who has some star power, who has proven he could be an MVP candidate as well. All right? That's another reason why it's a good trade. Another reason why it's a good trade is because you got the #1 pick. Likely the #1 pick from the Brooklyn Nets or whatever in 2018 from the Boston Celtics. I just can't get over this. To me, it's a very surreal trade. A lot of people might say, oh, well, Kyrie Irving is better than IT. To me, I don't think he's enough. I don't think Kyrie Irving was necessarily worth IT, Jay Crowder, the young rook, plus possibly the #1 draft pick in next year's draft. I just think that is absolutely insane that they got that kind of haul for him. The new GM, hats off to you. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about this team. I already talked about Jay Crowder, two-way player, or even if you don't consider him a two-way player, a defensive specialist, somebody who can guard bigs in the post, who's 6'8", who can also guard, taller wing players or whatever on the perimeter. Somebody who they're probably going to throw at Kevin Durant if they were to meet the Golden State Warriors in the finals again. He would be that designated. If you watch my video about the Warriors, Jay Crowder would be that designated Durant defender, basically. So you got that. You got somebody who can play alongside LeBron. Anytime somebody comes to town and they have an elite wing player, is LeBron going to guard him? No, because Jay Crowder is going to have that job the whole season. Positive, right? You got K Fielder. I'm curious to see how they're going to work him into this. He's going to be there if there's an injury to Derrick Rose or Isaiah Thomas or whoever to fill in the gap. I don't see him. Well, maybe they might run him out there. We'll see. We'll see. They're going to have. They have two undersized guys now, so that's going to be interesting. Channing Frye. So he's going to stay in the same role as the stretch five, the guy that stretched the floor. They have plenty of lineups they can run out there where it's LeBron with a bunch of shooters, or now it's going to be Derrick Rose with a bunch of shooters if LeBron's on the bench or sitting out a game or whatever. They're just going to be tough, man. Just a tough team to guard. You got Jeff Green, who they got earlier this offseason, who I think is a good pickup. I don't know how much he has left. Honestly, he hasn't been relevant in the NBA for a couple years now. So I'm curious to see what he has left. You have LeBron, best player in the world or whatever. Richard Jefferson, from my understanding, is that he was going to retire. We'll see what happens with that. He wasn't as effective last season as he was the season before. So we'll see. I think he's getting up there. They may move him to a coaching type position. I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, he's definitely getting up there. Dante Jones, he's not going to even be on a roster opening night. He'll probably, if they want somebody to, punch people in the nuts in the playoffs, they'll go pick him up at the deadline or whatever for picking up veterans for the playoffs. Kyle Korver, knockdown shooter. He's gonna have a full training camp under his belt with these guys. Another thing, even though Isaiah Thomas doesn't have the reputation for being, like a true point guard or whatever, I believe the ball will move more effectively with him as opposed to Kyrie. So I think that'll help the cohesiveness of this team even more. So I think Kyle Korver will have a better season. And he shot very well, especially towards the end of last regular season. So I just expect him to continue that. Kevin Love, the forgotten man. All right, let's talk about Kevin Love for a second. Even though there was never any news about Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving, from my observations of watching the Cavaliers, I never really understood their chemistry. I really didn't think they had great chemistry together on the court. There would be countless times I would watch them play. Kyrie comes down. Kevin Love, if there's one of his strengths, his greatest strengths, I wouldn't even say it's necessarily offensive rebounding, even though that's a really great strength. I wouldn't say it's the fact that he can shoot threes, which is another really great strength. I think Kevin Love best possible strength or whatever. The thing he's the best at on the court is establishing post position. He is like the best when it comes to establishing good post position or whatever, especially in transition situations or whatever the case may be. I cannot tell you how many times he would seal his man under the basket and call for a pass, and Kyrie Irving would not have his head up looking for him. So it'll be a situation where they could have got an easy 2 and they end up, with something else. Most likely they would still score, but an easy 2 goes away and it ends up being an ISO play or whatever, and they score off ISO or whatever. So Kevin Love and Isaiah Thomas do have a relationship. They played AAU ball together for years. Two people who I think will fit together more. I think Isaiah Thomas will look for Kevin Love more to get him involved in the offense. So I really do think we'll see Kevin Love. Even though he had a really good season last year, I think it'll go up another level, basically. So I'm excited to see what Kevin Love is able to do with Isaiah Thomas as well as LeBron on the court this year. Another thing is, in the finals, we've seen year after year after year after year in the finals where Kevin Love is not able really to be very effective against the Golden State Warriors. Well, if that is the case again, they have another option now. Now they can take Kevin Love out, or they can push him to the center position to have him matched up with whoever's playing center with Golden State. They can play Jay Crowder and LeBron together in the front court positions. Jay Crowder is versatile enough to move with anybody that the Golden State Warriors have, right? So that's another factor why I love this trade. I think this trade was excellent for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Cedi Osman, we'll see. Overseas player. Derrick Rose, like I said, tune in tomorrow. I'm going to tell you why Derrick Rose will be the 6th man of the year. He is definitely not going to be starting. They've already established that his job is going to be to get off the bench and go get buckets. Attack the rim. That's his job. When you take a player who's really, really good, who was a previously great player, and you simplify their job on the court, they're going to be very effective again. See Eric Gordon. Eric Gordon's job got simplified this year with Houston, and he got some hardware because of it. As far as the 6th man of the year trophy, I think Derrick Rose will win that same trophy next year, but tomorrow I will tell you guys all the reasons why. Iman Shumpert, I absolutely don't expect him to be on the roster next year. I do think they will find a trade partner, because once again Dwayne Wade's coming. That means he's going to be the 3rd string shooting guard on the team. I'm sure he believes he's better than that. I'm sure he may want to go. I'm sure, because they're going to keep J.R. Smith. They're not trading J.R. Smith. They need the shooting. I think he'll be pushed to the bench or whatever, and he'll probably see a lot of minutes with Derrick Rose. But yeah, Iman Shumpert, in my opinion, won't be there. They'll find a trade for him. I'd like to see it be Avery Bradley. That would be cool, but I don't know what they would have to do to get that done. Eddie Tavares, the big 7'3" guy or whatever, we'll see. I saw like a game with him last year where he got like, I think 4 blocks or whatever in a short period of time. He'll be interesting. We'll see. I don't think he'll get a lot of minutes. I think they'll find another player to fill some of those backup center minutes. But I am excited that they got another backup center, because Tristan Thompson plays entirely too many minutes during the regular season. Isaiah Thomas, what is there to say? He's just a shorter version of Kyrie Irving. I absolutely like what he brings to the table. He brings the same clutch performance that people love Kyrie Irving for. He brings it. He does it probably at a little bit more consistently. He does it more, because I can't even count the amount of like 4th quarter performances. We had like 18 points and he hit a clutch bucket or whatever. He gave Golden State some trouble last year too. He had the last 2 years he had multiple gutsy performance versus Golden State. Golden State does not like to see this guy when he comes to town. So it's just very interesting, him or Jay Crowder. So it's just interesting to see what's going to happen with him. I do think he has the capability to be a little bit of a better playmaker. In a situation where it's not his job to carry the offense like it was in Boston, I really do think in a Cleveland setting he can be more of a playmaker, and he will the game will be a lot easier for him playing next to LeBron. This guy, one thing you have to consider, He was able to average 28 points on a team full of like two-way players. He was playing next to Avery Bradley, Jay Crowder, all these guys. What was it, Man Bun? I don't even remember. It's Kelly Olynyk. All these guys are like two-way players or whatever. Well, maybe not so much Kelly Olynyk, but none of these guys are great offensive players. And he was able to carry an offense or whatever, basically on his back night after night after night. What is he going to be able to do playing next to LeBron? I don't think LeBron would hurt his game at all or whatever. I think he's going to fit in real nicely next to LeBron and Kevin Love, and they're going to be very, very effective because of it. Tristan Thompson is Tristan Thompson. Every night he's coming with the offensive glass, offensive rebounding, a little bit of rim protection. I like to see him get provide a little bit more rim protection, be more of a deterrent or whatever at the rim, block a couple more shots. But ultimately, you know what you're getting out of Tristan Thompson. That's rebound, and offensive rebound. Darren Williams will not be there. Derek Williams hopefully will be there because I do like what he brings to the table or whatever when it comes to like all the off the ball movement or whatever, and the corner three-pointers, which he's proven to be very effective at. Long story short, the Cavaliers fleeced the Celtics, in my opinion. They got they got Kyrie light, basically. And I don't even want to say Kyrie light. To me, he averages more points, averages more assists or whatever. And I think shoots at a slightly higher field goal percentage. I don't even want to call him Kyrie light. Just a shorter version of Kyrie Irving. You get the same things that you got with Kyrie Irving from Isaiah Thomas. They got somebody who has the potential to be a lockdown defender, but a solid defender playing next to LeBron. So LeBron doesn't have to guard elite front court players anymore because Jay Crowder's going to always get the tougher assignment or whatever, night after night after night after night. A young player, prospect, to get some of those backup center minutes. And then they got basically Michael Porter, or whoever is the best player in college basketball next year is playing next to LeBron next year. Or the year after, or whatever the case may be. If he's still there, which he will be. If LeBron leaves, they still are in good shape. They could re-sign Isaiah Thomas. They could back up the Brinks truck, as he said. So that they still have that. They still have a star to build around. And then on top of that, they have the #1 pick, or at least a top 5 pick next year to add to Isaiah Thomas. And that's if LeBron leaves. If LeBron stays, let's just say the idea of having a Cleveland dynasty is not completely out the window. All right. Leave your comments below if you agree, if you disagree, whatever the case may be. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed to this channel. Once again, tomorrow, 5 reasons Derrick Rose is going to be the 6th man of the year. All right? Don't miss it. All right? See you next time.